Welcome to Business Talk with Meghan McNulty, the podcast that takes you behind the scenes of business success and reveals the strategies, insights, and stories that drive these professionals to thrive in the ever-evolving world of business. Whether you're an established entrepreneur, a seasoned business owner, or simply fascinated by the world of commerce, this podcast is your front row seat to learn from the best. Each episode, Meghan will bring you engaging interviews with professionals from diverse industries who will share their triumphs, lessons learned, and the insights they've gained along the way. Good morning, Dr. Bar. How are you?
Hi, good morning, Meghan. How are you doing, love?
Good. Thank you for being here. So I'm so excited to talk to you about your practice today and learn about all the latest technology that you offer to get people healthy and looking their best. Can we start with you talking about your practice and what you offer and what your passion is?
Well, I'm in Orange County in Fashion Island, the most amazing space on earth, I think, Newport Beach. I love it. I started, practicing 30 years ago, and my practice has evolved over the years. So I graduated as a GP and did the Western typical medicine based on pharmaceuticals and just treating people for illness, right? And then over the years, about 20 years ago, my whole journey has changed. And I started, involving myself in learning more about functional medicine, figuring out the root of the problem, and, veering away from all those kind of fix it with a bandage and try to just move on and give it another pill and then see you next year. So my practice has changed completely into a more kind of customized, personalized. In 2000, I started the first concierge practice actually in Orange County, where it's just focused about you. When you need something, I'm there for you, whatever it is. I'll research, I'll get it from Europe if I have to. And it was all based on the newest, the best in actually putting all this together in a holistic fashion and optimizing your health while we're using the cutting edge technologies, but it's all personalized and very private. And it works just perfect in my area where I work. So more holistic approach over the years, getting to the root of the problem, and then actually having fun when I practice. I don't deal with illness anymore. I'm just dealing with happy people that their lives transformed and they're grateful for it.
Can you tell us a little bit about, I know there's some words like anti-aging, biohacking. Like, let's say I come to see you and say, Dr. Bar, I'm relatively healthy, I think, but, I don't feel like 100%. Would I fit into like anti-aging or biohacking, like procedures or protocol?
Sure. So biohacking is about empowering everybody to take charge of their health and making sure that they are able to reach their peak performance. So everybody ages after the age of 30, and that's like a surprise for most people. When I tell somebody your growth hormone is going to be declining at 30, or most females think that their menopause is at 50, but it's really starting in the 40s, early 40s. And it's not about the hot flushes. It might be 30% of the people getting a hot flush, but actually 10 years earlier, their progesterone went down, their bone is weakening, their heart is not the same, their skin is lagging, their libido is different. So I think aging is something that happens usually in the 30s, and everybody should address that. And it's about really optimizing our health and our lifestyle so that the aging, now that we know there are hallmarks of aging, can be actually treated as a chronic illness, believe it or not. So now we have the tools to measure aging through labs, through genetic testing, through DNA testing and biologic, markers. And through that, we can tailor for every person exactly what they need, not only at that moment, but to prevent future problems that can occur.
I love it.
So you're eligible. Everybody's
Yes,
eligible.
everyone is. So what would happen? Would I come in so I would come in and see you, we would talk about everything that's going on, and then I would get my blood work done, and then
Yes.
you would analyze my blood work and tell me this is what I see, and this is where it
Yeah.
should be. And then we would come up with a program to get to where I need to be, or
Yes.
Hmm.
So things have changed a lot in medicine, especially in the longevity field. So my practice is more now a feel of a med spa, and it's more like kind of relaxing. We have fun music, we have fun pictures in the background. But I'm just saying, like, it's not exactly you're coming in and getting your lab test like a typical primary care doctor, because we do totally different types of labs. So we like to see your typical labs that your primary care runs every year. It's good baseline to know at least your very basic metabolic kind of changes. But what we test is really biomarkers, genetic testing, biologic age, inflammation, or we call it inflammaging, inflammation markers, immune senescence, which is a fun word, but it tells me how your immune system is aging. And we found that the immune system is one of the biggest hallmarks of aging. And then we check your mitochondria, another thing, your powerhouse. And everybody needs to know how that's working, because that's another major fundamental factor that people age because their mitochondria weakens. A lot of people doing like fun biohacks now, they get into the cold plunge and after the sauna, that helps our mitochondria. But there are all kinds of other things that we test for. There are machines that we check certain things, how your blood vessels, which is very important. A man is as old as his vascular system, right? And then we check these very interesting devices and then give a whole AI kind of, after I get all these data, we go do an AI analysis, which is now that's the new technologies that we're learning more, that how it can plan and predict things for your health and your wellness and your longevity.
It's amazing. What would you say are the most popular treatments that people come to see you for?
I love peptides. I think everybody loves peptides now. Everybody knows a little bit about peptides, but most people know the semaglutide or the weight loss one, or maybe the BPC 157, but there's over 5,000 peptides that we know about. It's not new. It's just now more of the celebrities are talking about it, and it became popular the last few years in the media. But we know about peptides for a long time, and we've utilized them in our practice for a long time. So there are peptides for your immune system, peptides for your energy, mitochondria, peptides for hair and skin, peptides for bone and muscle, peptides for the heart, peptides for the brain that we can use when somebody wants to make sure they're not having cognitive decline over the years. There's a peptide that I love. It's better than Xanax. People take it, but it's all healthy. It makes your brain happy. There's peptides for orgasm and sexual health. So there are peptides for everything, and that's actually my almost the essence of what we do, as well as balancing patients' hormones. And then of course the icing on the cake would be biologics, which is like stem cells.
Okay. So can we talk about stem cells? How are they used? Why would I
Yes,
use
well,
stem cells?
of course, I love it. So I came to the United States 30 years ago researching stem cells. That's how I ended up here. I'm not shy about it now, and I can talk about stem cells. 30 years ago, I came to research at Emory stem cells and gene therapy, and I thought that's the future. And over the years, that has kind of been shut down a little bit in the United States through government a little bit, because they were worried about us using fetuses, which we don't. So the
Right.
research slowed down while Europe and other countries have advanced. However, over the last 10 years, we started using stem cells again. And I always get that question, is stem cells legal? Yes, they are. I just wrote a book on stem cells and it's being published on Amazon. I'll send you a copy. It's actually the key to longevity. So we now, the stem cell, know now that stem cells are the biggest healer in our body. It's the one organ or system that actually can heal, repair, and regenerate. And that's the only function. So it's so key in longevity, anti-aging, and beauty. So now we can implement stem cells everywhere. And this is actually, here is my stem cell center. We have rooms that we can extract your own stem cells, believe it or not, and actually test them first, make sure that they're awesome, and prep them. And then we send them to a bank in Florida. Then we create an army of your own stem cells. And we can use them for anything, for your hair, for your skin, for IVs, for anything that you're, complaining of. If you had a tennis elbow or twisted an ankle or knee pain or anything like that, we can inject them directly into the area. And these are your own. So these are your own army now that we can make a huge amount of them and use them over the years. And it's just amazing, amazing, amazing technology.
Really fascinating. When you said you can use them in IVs, I know that IV therapy is very popular. I just had the flu. I was like, I should get an IV because I need to feel better. But
Yeah.
do you guys offer that, and how do you customize that for everybody?
So it's very customized. Everybody comes in and I spend at least an hour, even though it's like, it's just the med spa, it's like feeling, but I usually like to spend with my patients at least an hour to learn about their lifestyle, their nutrition, their health. It's very important to know how they are eating and sleeping. These are very important things because longevity and anti-aging, the first things that we want to do is lifestyle changes. So you are invested in your health and empowered. So the basic stuff is not going to ever, be like, I'm going to get healthy, but I'm going to eat junk food. So we work on anti-inflammatory types of diets that maybe would be customized for you, how you sleep. And there are measurable ways of knowing how you're sleeping, recovering, because at night, that's your growth hormone comes out. That's when your body actually heals and recovers and repairs for next day. So there are measurable, and there's devices now, wearables, we call them. And there are ways for us to kind of help you modify your lifestyle. Not everybody can do the same thing. I love, for example, grounding, doing sauna, doing IVs every month to help my, kind of immune system recover. So there are things that we work with our patients to see what they can do or not. Like not everybody likes the cold plunge, but maybe I say a cold shower after a sauna is fine. So we modify the plans for everybody. And then after that, we prep them through hormonal balance, through metabolic workout, and then giving them the right peptides by actually doing an anti-inflammatory programs and then prep the body for stem cells extractions. And that is really the kind of the best way of kind of handling the aging process because stem cells are the ones now that we know can reverse a lot of these breakdowns.
That's so interesting. So how do you balance these medical grade procedures for like wellness with like the beauty trends?
So beauty trends are changing. I mean, a lot of people just, open the med spa just to have Botox and fillers, which is a
Right.
toxin, really. I think people are just learning more and more that these are just very short-term kind of fixes only on the superficial surface and, beauty. So I think people are learning more and more that they want to have something that, for example, if we're injecting stem cells or biologics or PRP, for example, or microneedling it or doing mini injections in the face, we know that it's not only going to be efficient in reversing the aging process just for a little period of time. You're going to have the glow and look good for a little time. No, actually, it's the fountain of youth. It reverses the aging. So over time, our patient noticed like once they start using biologics or stem cells or PRP or the PRF or the things that we're using now with peptides, and actually, I do my skincare now. It's a new way of doing it. I do my skincare customized to you, where if you need certain hormones, I put them in there, like
Oh,
beauty hormones, female hormones, right? Like E3, the Venus hormone. If you need a certain peptide, like the copper GHK, for example, we add all this in your skincare. So you're using it every day. Then we use biologics instead of, for example, toxin. So the toxin over time destroys your muscles, right? It just becomes weakened and lost in a sense, So with biologics or with stem cells, exosomes and peptides, you're reversing the process of aging. And it's like the giving tree. It continues to improve over time versus you have to go back and get another shot and destroy muscle.
interesting. Are there any myths about anti-aging or biohacking that you'd like to debunk that's out there at all or?
Yes, because when people say biohacking, I think they think of high-tech people, that guy on the YouTube that is like a Silicon Valley guy. It's only for biotech and nerds. No, it's for everybody. It's about empowering you how to have control to reach your peak performance in health and wellness, right? So biohacking is for everybody. It's very simple. If you're taking a cold shower after a little hot sauna, that's biohacking. If you're sleeping well and training your brain waves, which we measure those now, and teaching your brain how to get into a state of meditation and sleep well, that's a biohack. Sleeping is a biohack. Basically, doing all these like intermittent fasting, that's autophagy. That's your basic detox. So intermittent fasting at a longer period of time and breaking your fast in certain foods with anti-inflammation, that is an amazing way for your body to clean up all the toxins. And you don't need to do many of those. You do maybe 4 days out of the week. You do proper intermittent fasting because there's so many out there people talk about. Then that creates a process called autophagy. Autophagy kills zombie cells. Have you heard about that?
No.
You have zombie
Okay.
cells in your body. And
Interesting.
zombie cells are things like, that's another thing people need to learn about, that our body can actually, that's another myth. Every day you can actually clean up your body by cleaning those zombie cells. If you do intermittent fasting, that is a great way of doing it. There's a lot of antioxidants that you can do and supplements that you can do to help you to get rid of those zombie cells. A zombie cell, just to put it in a spa perspective, is a wrinkle in the skin.
Okay, so by
Or a
fast.
gray hair, or a gray hair. So there are things now we can do to reverse that or actually stop it in time.
Wow. Okay. I haven't heard that. So zombie cells. So
Yeah, you have
basically
zombies.
intermittent fasting is very effective,
Mhm.
could be very effective for cleaning out your whatever is going on in the body. I want to kind of switch to like the industry, like where the industry is headed. So I've noticed, and I've worked with a lot of owners of medical spas where and you see them constantly now, like every other street all over Los Angeles or
Yeah.
Orange County. And so I would like your thoughts on the industry. Why do you think we have so many med spas now?
So I think med spas is a kind of a safe place where people don't get into a space where everybody's sick, right? So now we know med spas are available for people. Like my office is a med spa.
Right.
And I see my patients there, nobody feels like kind of it's, a waiting room in a sick office, So it's just a good feel. It's actually centered up around customer service. So, that's another way. It's almost a hospitality service, right? So I think it's a better way of serving our clients in a way. I don't call my patients, I call them clients.
Mhm.
They are relaxed, there's beautiful music, we tailor to their needs, we're focused on their lifestyles and wellness and health and all that kind of stuff versus their illness. But we address the illness if we need to. But most of my patients are always healthy. I rarely see them for illness, right? So I think med spas has a space in the medical industry of creating more relaxed, more client-oriented, kind of a hospitality feel. And I think more and more of these med spas are helping people have a better, kind of body composition. A lot of them are doing the weight loss, right? Or doing bioidentical hormone therapy, which is key in a lot of these med spas. So it's really addressing health and wellness. And I think it's a growing industry. Longevity is one of the biggest growing industry. I think now it's like about 19 billion, and it's estimated to be in the 2030 to be 65 billion. So that's the buzzword. If you remember about like 5-10 years ago, it was wellness. Now it's longevity.
Longevity.
Yeah.
Uh, so with that said, so I know where do basically one of the things that's also pushing the med spa industry and doctors that are really educated like you on this topic is the new technology that's coming out. So where do you think the new technology is headed and the breakthroughs?
I think new technology is going to be amazing because now we can, and I'm already utilizing it in my practice, the AI. AI is huge. It's going to be just really identifying root of the problems, putting all your data and labs and testing in there, and then actually getting all your data, whatever you collected from the patient, as history and lifestyle, and putting all that together with maybe with their wearables, if they're wearing an Oura ring to see how they're sleeping or something to check their heart rate variability. All these amazing technologies are going to go all into a one big AI source, and then a plan for that, very customized plan with the highest cutting edge technologies would be created for you. I think it's just amazing. AI is going to be one of the biggest, I think, big hits coming up this coming years. The other one is the regenerative medicine.
Okay.
So regenerative medicine, I'm talking about biologics, I'm talking about stem cells, I'm talking about exosomes. I think there's not enough regulation right now. I think that will have to be regulated at some point because everybody's just getting stem cells from a bank here or there. The standardized procedures and what they're used for and all that is not yet available. I think eventually we will have that. There's a lot of research publications. I attend conferences twice years on stem cells, big conferences, international, and almost every other month I'm into a stem cell conference for something, whether it's research or clinical applications. So I think stem cells are going to be the big hit in longevity. It's going to be helping with gene therapy. It's going to be helping with so many things, I don't want to get technical, that actually can reverse a lot of the hallmarks of aging, for example, in a med spa, but also a lot of the diseases will be actually researched and worked on more. For example, like chronic inflammatory disease, that's huge. That's in my book because that is what ages us most. So chronic inflammation is huge. It's from the food, it's from the toxin, it's from the environment, and all these things could be addressed now in a fashion that would help with creating a plan to reduce these effects on your body with AI, with regenerative medicine. I think these are going to be biggest items in the longevity and med spa industry, as well as genetic testing. So that's another thing too. So genetic testing for your skin, for your nutraceuticals, what vitamins do you need, what skincare do you need? It's going to be amazing with AI.
It's very exciting. With back to the stem cells and the regenerative medicine, the new word is like exosomes. I never heard that. I mean, they've been around, right? But now everyone's using the word exosome. So for people that are listening, like, where do exosomes come from? Like, if you're a doctor and you're going to use them on patients, like, where are we getting them? Just for like those of us who maybe this is like a term we're like, what is that?
It's a good question. So I like to think of exosomes as the juice that comes out of a cell. So every cell communicates with other cells through a juice. So if it's not a chemical reaction, kind of a liquid that goes out in a vesicle, and these vesicles go from one cell to the other to create a signal inside the cell. And I'm sorry if I get technical, stop me, right? So this is the juice that comes out of the cell to go communicate with other cells to create a signal. And that signal could be if one cell needs help with recovering from a virus, for example, it would have that signal to it. So our body communicates with different ways. For example, blood supply can carry hormones, but cell-to-cell communication can happen through these vesicles, and these vesicles carry a signal through that juice. And that juice is very specific to those cells. So exosomes existed over a long time ago. However, a long time ago, we thought those extra vesicles were excreta or like things that needs to be thrown away. So for example, a stem cell can have exosomes, and it all depends on the state of the cell. And these exosomes could be a good signal for all your other cells to do certain things, whether it's heal, regenerate. And these exosomes, most of the time, since they're a juice of those cells, have something called like growth factors. We can measure these. So each lab can measure those. So if somebody wants to know what's in the exosomes, they want to know what type of growth factors are there. So there are exosomes that would help you grow hair.
Okay.
They're not going to be the same exosomes that's going to help you when you're sick with a virus.
Right.
So there's a whole variation of that. It's just saying vegetables and what is that vegetable for?
Right. Okay. Makes sense.
So knowing why they're produced and where are they from is very important. It's very technical, but I think a lot of people just use exosomes now, which is safe, topical in the skin or for hair and stuff like that. When we use those like in injections or IVs, we've got to be careful. We need to know the source. We need to understand what it is. There's a lot of regulations, which you can help us with those regulations because we need standardization in the healthcare industry for these products somehow so that you know what's in those products. And that's important. The source is very important if you want to get exosomes, you want to know the source and what's in it.
Okay. So with that said, we see a lot of doctors transitioning to this type of practice and more, like you said, medical spa and, offering it. So it's like preventative and optimizing how the patient feels and customizing it for them, for the client. So what do you think's like needed for the industry? Because it's new, right? We haven't seen this before. What do you think's needed? Do you think that there needs to be like a more regulatory body, or do you think that you guys need to come together and start, publishing more information about this?
I think that's very important. So I encourage that, groups of physicians get together, if there's an association or if there's like educational bodies that would, collaborate with you to create proper standards and maybe kind of guidelines, because it's just like the Wild West out there, honestly. There's stem cells. I wrote a book because of that, because I was trying to research what's out in Mexico and Panama and why people are going there. But
Right.
these are like, for example, exosomes and stem cells and things that are just modified, which is illegal. So these are really things like, they have been manipulated. And that's the word that the FDA goes crazy, like manipulated. Are they going to create cancer, which can
Right.
happen, right? So I really do not advise people going to other countries because the regulation bodies, and I've done a lot of research, it's in one chapter in my book, the regulations in each country is different. So we have here cord blood banks, for example. That cord blood bank has certain inspectors that come in for their tissue, for their blood, for whatever, like there are certain regulations in the United States. They're tested for certain viruses and certain things. So I think the regulation is key. I think that is a role that maybe it would be ideal because this is a very kind of less regulated standard right now in not knowing what dose to give. Like some people say, I'm getting 10 vials, and another one say 2, and each one gets it from a different bank. I think we need to have standards, and the standards might be a little bit expensive to go through because there are machines that can measure what's in each batch, right?
Right.
There has
Right.
to be a certification, and there has to be certain testing that goes through this to make sure it doesn't have any infections, chronic viruses. These are not tested in Mexico when they go there. There's no standards for that, or Panama. So the stuff in the United States, for example, is very much probably higher kind of standard, I would say, but there should be still a big picture maybe that people should be under, and then more research, and then that research should be shared because a lot of people were afraid when people talked about stem cells during COVID. I was underground. I treated patients with exosomes and stem cells. Hey, I'm seeing it online, and we had amazing results. But you know what? I couldn't share that with other fellows. We did underground. So we're a group of 50 doctors. We mostly do functional medicine. We compared, that's how we came up with protocols, right?
Right.
But these have to be maybe shared. Number two, standardized. And this is probably a role of an organization like yours that can help that be lobbied through our body of systems that regulates
Right.
medical procedures. Then that would be safe for our patients, more safe, or actually creating more advancement because we need that.
Right. Yeah, no, I think it's definitely needed there, to have an organization out there that's champion doctors such as yourselves and owners of clinics or practices or, medical spas like this, that helps them make sure that they can show their clients that should be the standard. This is our research.
Yes.
And this is what we're doing. And as it changes rapidly now over the next, 2 decades or whatever, with all the technology that's going to be coming our way, especially
Yeah.
with AI, as you said,
Mhm.
that we're ahead of it. So I think it's really exciting. Another thing I wanted to bring up, which you mentioned, which is the problem in the United States, which I see you kind of talking about here, is this really increase in autoimmune diseases. I don't know if they've always been there and we just didn't know about it, but it does seem like everyone is coming up with a lot autoimmune, and it's all about inflammation. So let's just say you are someone that has an autoimmune disease. Like, do you have your primary doctor and then go to see someone like you too? Or how do they incorporate this into maybe making them feel better? Because a lot of these autoimmune diseases don't go away and they're going to have to deal with them the rest of their lives. Yeah.
That is not true. So
Okay.
autoimmune diseases happen because, no, I mean, like, it depends what you do.
Okay.
Okay. The autoimmune disease happens when your body is exposed to something or not sometimes, because your body might be triggered through inflammation to think that your own cells are foreign. So your immune cells get triggered. Okay. Saying this, there are two routes of going about this. One, finding the reason, root of the problem, which is functional medicine, right? That's what we do in functional medicine. And then not only finding the problem, but if it's an issue that was like Hashimoto or things like that,
Mhm.
it was triggered for certain reasons, you can address that very specific reason. For example, modifying how your T cells react by boosting them back again. So there are peptides that your body would have created that maybe are less. Like, we know when hormones go low with aging, it's the same thing. We have a thymus, a gland here that weakens with age. 30 is almost rudimentary at this point. Kids were having it producing
Right.
all the antibodies and T cells activation. As we age, it's not needed anymore. Supposedly, I don't know why nature thought so. So we start getting chronic inflammation and loss of immune function.
Oh,
Yeah, so immune function declines. And then because that surveillance is not there anymore as it should be, we are having chronic inflammation, autoimmune disease. And then if we don't check this chronic inflammation, it becomes cancer. And that's the process of aging and death.
right.
But all this, now we know why it's happening. We know how can we ameliorate this and dampen it, and how we can activate your thymus gland again. One of my favorite peptides, CA1 alpha.
Okay.
And it's research. These are things researched international, not only United States. We don't have that much research in the United States on T1 alpha, but it's something that even written in Russian, right? Because they did a
Right.
lot of work on peptides. So if we know the root of the problem and tackle it and reduce that problem by improving, that's why I told you I check people's immune senescence, their immune system when they come to see me. Your doctor doesn't do that. There's a panel that we specific one sent to the UCLA. I think it's like $550. It measures those cells and how they're going to react. And what is your kind of predictability to have cancer if certain markers are high. So you can also go to your Western medicine rheumatology. All what they're
Right.
going to do, they're going to give you a drug that is FDA approved that might have 50% chances of, you might lose your hair, you might have diarrhea, you might get blind, you might, all
Right.
those
Right.
good
Right.
things.
All the
And yeah, like for the psoriasis, whatever, but they got this beautiful lady running around and in the beach and playing with her kids, but it's going to immune suppress you, meaning like your immune system is going to be totally suppressed, including your autoimmune disease. And that's the way to deal it. That's the bandage. That's the problem. With Western medicine, medications, most of them are bandages. Just put a bandage on a problem, pretend that it doesn't exist, right? Not
Right.
find out why it happened. So there's two options, either to go functional medicine, find out the root, fix it, versus just go put a bandage on it. And people have the choices. One is covered by insurance, the other one is most of the time not.
Right. Do you think with the insurance industry, I know it's changing and we have a healthcare, issue in the United States, particularly with our ability to get affordable care,
I
but
hope it changes. Yes.
yeah, do you think they'll change it? Do you think it'll adjust? I don't.
I'm very optimistic because like finding maybe with this, I mean, but from what we heard, right? Like this organization that's coming up, like this new administration is keen to clean up your environment, clean up your food, produce a lot of things that, are healthier for us that we consume every day, that hopefully will reduce the chances of us creating those autoimmune diseases or cancers or ADD in kids, or inflammaging, right? The chronic diseases that's now, this is like an epidemic. Everybody thinks that hypertension, diabetes, all that, like my joint is hurting or osteoarthritis or whatever you call it, these are okay to have because you're getting old. But these are all inflammations or inflammaging that now we know hallmarks of aging. It's in my book, one chapter, that you can actually work on them early on, reverse them. So you don't have to age that way. Maybe we just one day we just drop and die healthy, live healthy and drop and die. That's it.
Yeah. Wow. I want to come in and get all my blood work done. This has been such an interesting talk, and I just wish that everyone had access. I mean, I guess people do if they know about it, but had access to this to find out that their body's composition or whatever's going on with them is so different than another person. So it can't be the same treatment for everybody. There's so many ways to feel good and also look good, as a woman, you want to be, age well. So I believe that this was, really useful, and people aren't aware that there's doctors out there like you that are doing this kind of treatment and research and helping people feel better. And I really appreciate you talking to us today. If someone wants to find you, how do they find you?
We're in Fashion Island by
Okay.
my name if you Google me or find me. But I
Okay,
just
perfect.
want to, I want to end up with one note. I mean, like, I really want people to take charge of their health and like I try to educate my patients all the time. And it's very important for people to take initiative and start learning about these things because it's so important. We only see the doctor in the United States when we're sick. We do not do enough preventative, and we do not change our lifestyle to improve our health. If we jog one time a week or we just, I don't think it's enough, right? We really need, and there is so many resources. There's AI. If you just put this AI question, you will get all the information and just say, based on research and publications, you put whatever you're looking for. Why do I need to do, peptides for my joint, for example? And what type of peptides? You will learn a lot just from AI. Everybody has that access now. But say, based on research and publications, I want people to start learning about their health more. And that's my message to everybody. Get empowered to have a better, healthier life. And that's the key. It's not about superficial beauty in med spa anymore. It's not about how you're going to get a laser and a peel and all that kind of stuff. I'm serious. It's about a lot of your inner glow, health that reflects out on your beauty. And that's very important.
I agree. Well, thank you.
Thank you, honey. I appreciate it.
So
Okay,
much.
I got to run. Okay,
Okay,
thank
good
you.
luck. Talk to you later. If you've enjoyed today's episode, please consider subscribing to the Business Talk podcast and leaving us a review on your favorite podcast platform. Your feedback helps us grow and improve. Thank you for joining us today. This has been another episode of Business Talk with Meghan McNulty.